Welcome back to the EJ Ward FieldView training series. In this video, we're going to go over how to schedule a report. So to start out, we need to drop down the reporting folder here, and then we need to click on Scheduled Reports. On a brand new system, you're not going to have anything scheduled yet, so what we need to do is click on Add Record. Once that blank record comes up, what we need to do is drop down the report name, and you can search for the report name that you want. Now, if a report was saved and you didn't have saved for scheduling saved when you save the main report, it's not actually going to show this report here. You can also see the report type over here. So we have a couple of grids. We have mainly just reports, but the grids and the reports are the two types that we can actually save. So I'm going to go ahead and look up a transaction report here. And we're going to go ahead and do our transactions by date and time. The next thing that we need to do is the export type. So if you want to export it to a certain type, you can. I typically recommend PDF for regular reports and do an XLS or an XLSX for a grid type report. But if you want to do a comma separated value file, you can as well. So we're going to go ahead and do PDF on this. Our next thing is failed attempts. This is going to show the failed attempts from the last time it ran, if there were any. Then we have our max failed attempts. This is the maximum amount of times it's going to try to run that report and send it out. If it fails either trying to run the report or if it fails trying to send it out to certain emails, it's going to fail this amount of times and then stop trying. So I recommend putting this to about 3 or below, because you don't want it to just keep trying if it's going to keep failing. Our date filter above that, this is the date range that you want to set for that report. And so since this is a report that needs a date range, we're going to go ahead and put this one as the last month. And then we have our run date. So this is the date that we want to start running this report. So we want to start running this report next month on the 1st, and it's going to go for the last month. So it's going to be our monthly report. So this one's going to give us the month of April on May 1st. Then you can also put the time. I want this one to run at 6 a.m. because it will be inside of my email box before I even get to work. And then I can go with the occurrence. So I can do I want to do a daily, a monthly, or a weekly? So if you select daily, you select the days that you want to run it on. If you select weekly, it's going to ask you how many weeks do you want this to occur. So do you want to do it bi-weekly, every 2 weeks? Do you want to do it every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, so forth and so on? If you want to do it every 1 week, you can just put 1 there. And then you select the days you want it to run. So I could have this run weekly on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if I wanted to. For this report, we're going to have it run monthly. So, and then you would just put the day of the month you want it to run on. So I want this to run on the 1st of every month. And then below that, we have our email. So email from can be whatever you want it to be. I'm going to run this as reports@ejward.com. And then the email to must be a valid email address. And you can do multiple email addresses by separating each one by a comma and a space. So I could put mine, and then do a comma, space, and then do another email if I wanted to. But since I only have mine that I'm going to send it to, I'm going to keep it there. And then you can do any carbon copies, and you can do the carbon copy the same way. So you just want to have a comma to separate each email. Once I'm done with this, I can go ahead and click on Save. Once this saves successfully and the runtime comes up, so on May 1st at 6 a.m., it's going to email out this report and come into my mailbox. Now it's just going to come into my mailbox and then have that attachment as a PDF. So it'll be an attachment that you can send on to other people. If you want to, you can take a look at it. If you want to change the data, I recommend doing an Excel document so that you can change the data up and then send it out or put it into another report that you might have. Now if we look at our grid screen here, you can see that we did the transactions by date and time, department, and vehicle with MPG. And then it's got our run date on there. And then we can also hit columns and choose columns, and now I can look at different things. So let's say I can do the last run here. And this is going to tell me the last run date it actually ran with. And then I can look at failed attempts to see if it actually failed or not. So it's going to give us our email from and our email to, and it will give us the full list there. The occurrence is going to be MT, it's going to be D or W. So it's monthly for MT, W for weekly, and D for daily. The other thing about this page itself is this is one of the few places that you can actually delete a record from. So if you hit this delete, I'll have to remake that entire schedule again. So if we want to change up the schedule, let's say we don't want to do it at the 1st anymore, we want to do it on the 5th. So I can click on the report name here, and then I can change the run date. If I'm just wanting to stave it off for a little bit, just like a temporary drop from the report, I can change the run date for the next run date and change it to like a month ahead or something like that. And it's just not going to run the report until the next run date comes up. Or I can change the occurrence. So let's say I want to start it on the 5th. I can hit 5 here on the day of the month, save it, and then it's not going to run until until May 5th. So when we close that, so then I have the report set up, and I can set up as many reports as I want. I can set them to all different people. I can set up this same report to go to a different set of people and have a different date range on it if I want to as well. The last thing that we can do is delete this guy. So if we want to delete it, we just click on the delete button. It's going to pop up and tell you to confirm that you want to delete it. You can go ahead and hit OK, and then it'll delete it completely. So we'd have to remake it if we wanted it again. And that concludes the video on how to schedule reports in the FieldView system. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.